Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Malts and Meeples. So, I promised a different setup. Let me get this. I'm sorry, I'm sitting further away than normal. Because, well, this is a monster of a game. My different setup is not fully set up yet. I realized I was short a cable, so it's going to look like this for the most part. Though, as we get into bits of combat, things like that, we're going to go over here, characters, or bad guys. Now, this is fully filling up my table right now. It's a massive amount of stuff. I actually have a decent setup right now for it. But as you can see, there's overlap on some things, which, well, we'll deal with that when we deal with that. This is a game that, honestly, it is too big for what it is. This could be smaller, and it would work just about the same. That said, still love it this size. So there are going to be a couple of different things to note with this, mainly that I'm going to be doing the reading here versus normally I would use the app. Ooh, wrong one. Sorry, this is a whole lot further away. So, touch your controls. Something like that. Normally I'd use the app, but my phone last week died on me. And because of that, I have a temporary phone. I don't really want to install everything onto an older temporary phone when I'll be getting my phone back. Again, coming up here, it's just going to be a matter of time. So, I'm going to be doing the reading. We don't have the map camera set up yet. I'm going to figure out which camera is which, because right now I have the nicer camera pointed at the map. But that one's not hooked up because of I didn't have one of the cables I needed. There's always one. It's on its way. I actually have a different tripod for the one camera I am using now. So we'll see how this goes. But let's get down to the table. Actually, before we do that, two things. We have a Seismic Sioux that we're drinking here. This is a triple IPA. Oh boy, triple. That means we're sitting at what? Give me an ABV. So I adjust my angles. 9.8%, not bad. And I'm going to, I'll correct a rule after I do this next little bit of reading. Move guards to 40. Follow the instructions. They're already at 40. We're going to do exploration here. Compass. Now I need to remember one world. This symbol means. I wish I was closer. I'm gonna have to figure out that as part of it too, because I'm now fully across the table from it and it's sitting down slightly. That probably is the biggest thing, is I need to raise it back up. So, if I'm not mistaken, be mistaken. Let's see, don't do that, or that. Should be in the rule book here. Exploration phase. Explore. I want to know the compass symbol. Which should be, you'd think fairly easy. Customizing guards, great. That's not useful. Where was it in here? So, compass symbol means we draw an event, which I do not have the ranges down yet. Alright. So, exhausted, you nap beneath the shade of a tree. You dream of a long hallway. To the right, you hear cries for help. To the left, you catch a pleasant whiff of spice and salted meats. We're going to head right. We are heroes. You follow the cries for help. You discover a field of tortured souls. Many seem half dead. Others are barely human, taking the form of a beast. The sight is more than you can bear, and you awaken in a cold sweat. So, yeah, not great. Better than poison? Let's just say it's better than poison, or something like that. Three and three of these skull tokens. Just a quick reminder, which I'll need as well. Where's that sheet? Cheat sheet. Fear. You just stop drawing chips, and then I believe, as I go through the rulebook here, for the combat phases, stick that one back in. Battle phase, blah blah blah, guard's turn. I'm looking for the end. Cleanup phase. So, green and red chips go away. We're going to move up to 48, and I have to get up to grab a mini map. So let's get you down to the table. I'm going to show off the mini map. Well, I'll show off the mini map in a close-up over these guys here. Alec, by the way. Alec, I forgot to give you your stats. So let's do those real quick. 20 health. And 2 action cubes. Ideally, I wouldn't be standing up to do this all the time, but if you remember correctly, so I definitely grabbed completely the wrong box here. I want the maps. I gotta grab books to have set out and ready to go. Which means a tiny bit of work on my behalf here. Fort Straws. There it is. We came in at the north gate, so I'm going to place us on 48 over here to the side, and then read some of the story. As you walk along the captain, so this is from Alec's perspective, you periodically glance over, trying to decipher what he's thinking. His face is an unreadable mask, but you can sense the determination emanating from him with each step. You manage to keep mostly silent, allowing the captain space for his thoughts, and then suddenly you arrive. High walls and towers of Fort Straws always manage to make you feel safe. Standing before them now, they seem cold and menacing. The usual hubbub surrounding the fort is now gone, replaced by icy silence. Gregory lets the silence stretch out before shouting, "Open the gate! Would you have your captain stand out in the cold?" A moment later, a dark figure comes to stand above the gate, leering down at you. "Captain, that's interesting you call yourself. I had a little bird tell me you are captain no longer." "Akif. Then you've heard that the king graciously allowed me to gather supplies before my exile. That's Captain Akif to you. And yes, I will allow you to gather a few supplies. After all, I still know how to follow king's orders. I'll even let you bring your little friend." As the great gate cracks open, Captain Gregory speaks to you. "Are you sure you want to cast lot with me? There's no going back from here." "My lot with the stone is with the Stonebound, and that means you. This is bigger than even Isofar now." Captain Gregory looks at you and nods before stepping through the gate. Move the guards to Straw's minimap. Proceed to 16. Read chapter 110 from Gregory's perspective now. You pass through the gate. You are surprised to see the courtyard filled with what must be every guard at the fort. They seem split into two groups. The larger surrounding Captain Akif, facing down a much smaller group near the west gate, perhaps 20 guards. Alec locks eyes with you, only speaking when you are a few paces away. "Gregory, it's so good to see you." Or Akif locks eyes with you, only speaking when you're a few paces away. "Gregory, it's so good to see you again. Tell me, how has my son been doing under your command?" The sudden shift in tone throws you. Your thoughts flick back to Yuri, young and eager, and now a stonebound. "Yuri is young," you reply, "but he has a strong heart. With more experience, I'll believe he will make an excellent leader someday." "I must tell you," Akif sneers, "I'm glad he won't be following the experience from you. You see, you've always struck me as a bit dull." At this, the guards behind Akif begin to chuckle. Akif continues, "I think my boy Yuri needs a stronger hand to guide him now. Someone who isn't content to merely guard the borders." "Isofar is safe and prosperous," you reply. I do everything to ensure it remains that way. The Falmouth threat has been hanging over our heads for generations. You were never willing to do what needed to be done. But I will end the threat once and for all. You're speaking of war with Falmouth. That's madness. Well, Gregory, the secret to being a truly great leader just so happens to be a little bit of madness. Akov smiles and turns to the guard nearest him. Throw him his supplies and send him on his way. The good captain, ex-captain, is boring me. The guard lobs a small pouch and you snatch it out of the air. You turn over the pouch and a single gold falls into your palm. You gain 1 sil. You're up to 11 sil. It's not much. For services rendered, Akov says, goodbye, Gregory. Don't forget to bring your pet soldier with you when you leave. A shout bursts forth from the small group of guards clumped near the gate. Gregory is the rightful captain. Immediately, 200 swords are drawn and leveled at the rogue group of guards. You desperately try to intervene. No, my friends. I'm your captain no longer. King Karst himself has ordered it. The best thing you can do for now is serve Isofar honorably under Akov. Gregory, laughs Akov. I just don't know what to do with you. I'm feeling generous today. I won't kill you and your little sycophants where you stand. Instead, I'll offer you my mercy. Akov speaks. As Akov speaks, he singles out a small group of the rebel guards with a slow sweep of his sword. You will join your precious captain in exile. You will wander as outcasts in the foreign land until you die alone and forgotten. Your children will forget your faces, your families will live in disgrace and curse your name, and your line will end. You will be erased from history, and if any of you are ever foolish enough to try and come back here, you and your entire family will be hauled to the nearest town square and slaughtered as a warning to those who would betray Isofar. The only thing that softens the blow is the hope that there will be no bloodshed today. Rather than risking any further discussion with Akov, you simply turn to usher Alec and the new guards out of the gate. Something is off about Alec. You take a final look at him, but the person staring back at you is no longer the Alec you knew. So we move to 63. We were there for a couple seconds. We've continued south. Coastal Road. Alec. Man, we are going to basically just be reading, it seems like. We'll see. Tutorial is complete. The mood is somber as you walk the coastal road with your fellow exiles. Gregory thought it best to get as far away from Fort Straws as possible before stopping to come up with a permanent plan. You have taken the time to get to know some of the guards better. There are a few familiar faces in them. Baron, who helps in the smithy sometimes. Kellen, an excellent swordsman. Danielle, always ready with a clever remark, but nice enough to get away with it. Other faces are familiar, but you can't place names with them. But there, speaking with Gregory, is a face you've never seen before. A new recruit, maybe? As you approach, the new recruit turns and greets you. Ah, welcome, Alec. It's nice to finally meet you. It's nice to meet you too. Have we met before? I mean, no. I guess you just implied we haven't. But then, how do you know my name? When you get around as much as I do, you get to know a lot of things, he answers. Rather than bore you with what I know, or rather than bore you with how I know your name, I should think you'd be more interested in where we go from here. You look at Gregory. What's he talking about, Captain? Who is this? I think it best if you show him what you showed me, Gregory says to the man. Very well, he replies. He stoops down and plucks an ordinary stone off the ground and holds it before you. Slowly, the stone begins to change before your eyes. A faint light emanates from the center of the stone, building in intensity until you are forced to shield your eyes. There is a sudden flash of light that pierces your eyelids, and then it's over. When you open your eyes, a steadily glowing speaking stone rests in the man's hands. It's a speaking stone. But how did you know it was there? It wasn't. The stones appear when there is need. The man pauses before continuing. You have heard the voice from the speaking to you from the stones, yes? Yes. You reply cautiously. No need to fear, Alec. I'm an emissary of the one behind that voice. The man pauses, allowing the words to sink in. The sudden realization of the man's importance slams into you. Now that you are aware, you can sense the power flowing from him. You awkwardly stumble, simultaneously trying to bow and shake his hand. Failing both, you manage to ask, Sire, what do we call you? I'm no king, merely a guide. The man raises his gaze, and you realize that everyone stops speaking, and all eyes are locked on the stranger. You may call me Dynamis, the man begins. I have been sent to you because the need is great. There is a darkness that has long plagued the edges of the world. You have seen its effect on men like Captain Alec, but that is just the beginning. This darkness, Tenebris, is no longer content to hide in the shadows. It has chosen this time to strike out at all at all of Telios. Its goal is to bring every man, woman, child, and beast under its sway. But you have access to a greater power. In time, you will learn how to use that power to its full potential. Until that time, a place has been set aside for you to gather your strength. Follow me, and I promise you will not meet the shadow unprepared. So, I need to find in here somewhere story chip, which I place on 102. Tutorial is now complete. Begin exploration phase. Reference page 18 of the rulebook for instructions. Now that you've completed a few battles, you may have enough lux to unlock something on one of the guard's skill trees. We recommend unlocking Alec's Combine Guard ability card first, which costs 10 lux. This card allows him to use his keyword Empower. See page 28 to 29 in the rulebook. So, more on skill trees. Upon arrival at 102, place the Fort Istra minimap on the table. Remove all the building pieces from the board and place them aside. Move the guards to Fort Istra, North Gate. Proceed to page 19 and read chapter 2.1. Upon arrival, we are not there. We have a bit of a journey ahead of us. End of chapter 1. Exploration phase now uses enemy index chapter 2. See page 7 of the indexes. So, we're going to do a couple things here. Page 7 of the indexes. And we can see over here kind of our cheat sheet for prices on things. 10, 25, 40, and 75, depending on the level that you're on. So all of these would add a 10, but they said go for combine first. So we're going to do that. So some things like we're adding health, it looks like various words, various tokens. And we'll flip back to page 7. And then we go over here. Alex cards, and we have combine. Trigger the empower effect of one card. Or if one of the potion cards is not active, flip it over. That has been added into the mix with him. And we have spots for 6 different kind of abilities. That takes us down to 2 Lux. Then we're going to start our journey. And this is probably where we're going to start to dive into some more combat, where I can show, and I'll actually talk about the mistake that I made last time and the time before. So we have our bag here. So right now in this bag we have these tokens. The red skull means stop. Stop drawing immediately. But let's say they meant something else. I could draw 1, 2, okay? That's my first turn because I have 2 cubes. I draw 1, but this one doesn't count. If this was doing something different besides telling me to stop drawing, I would continue drawing until I drew 2 black chips. I might have said chips. So where that matters is because I was drawing poisons and kind of using those as like a dud, or I was drawing these green tiles. You can kind of see the chips there. that's how you can stack more in. So, let's begin our travel. And I can plan different routes. I can go through Arabia. I can come around. I could go through Throfa. I could come down through Mir. I could hit up multiple of those along the way. I'm going to head more towards Mir. So we start with our exploration phase. We have a single skull for location 68. Sorry, phone buzzed. Need to make sure it is in fact nothing. It is in fact nothing. Well, it is in fact the other camera connector that I need. So, I look at the number I'm at, 68. I come to the encounter index, and I'm looking for 68. 68, a single skull, a 2-star Brigand Marauder. So we're going to pretend like this is number 1. Shift it up here. We have a Brigand Marauder. Oh, you're a 1-star Brigand Marauder. I need a 2-star. So I'll return those extra cards. Shuffle them up. And let's set up the board here for them. Two offense. Slide that back, attenuate. 2 defense. 10 health. And 2 cubes. As we look at combat order, rulebook. So the reason I'm looking this up now is we have 2 characters in combat. And I just need to see on page, I believe it is 18, no, further in. Customizing guards, blah, blah, blah. So we do activate all the guards first. We're going to start with Alec here. So we get a skull, immediately ends our draw. So Alec gets to do nothing. Got a sword. 2 swords for Captain Gregory. I shouldn't say that. Alec can, using his reinforce ability, attack 1 enemy for, well, 2 + 1, which is 3, and gains 1 bonus defense during that time. So, bump it down to 9. Gregory has 2 combat ones. don't know where to put myself for this. In fact, you can't even see. There's the brigand who I'm fighting. Yeah, I will have a better setup for this next week. So I'd like to... I'm going to start with feint. Why? Feint gives the -1, which now would have been nice knowing that I had only drawn nothing there. It's the -1 on defense. So only 1 defense. Currently, I'll attack for 4, which becomes a 3. And then, you know what, I will just attack for 3, which becomes a 2. So, whittling down the health there. Choose target. Next ally. It said a brigand marauder. To me, that's a nothing. Because it doesn't have an ally. Unless I'm reading that wrong. It says target, choose next ally. There is no ally. So we start the cleanup. We remove that -1. And we remove the skull. Now I can go back and choose whichever order I want. We're on cooldown for abilities. Alec, let's have you go again. 1, we have a sword and a shield. So sword or a shield, gain a green cube. So Alec gains a green cube, and then defense is up to 2, so there's no reason to do that. Instead, we're going to add a sword and a shield to Alec's bag. He is done. We go on to Grigory. Double sword and shield. So we're going to put 1 here, costs 1 to gain a temporary shield token. And then we can also, with our double swords, we'll just attack for 3, which becomes a 1. So, right now, Gregory is sitting at +1 defense. So the enemy hits for 3, but it adds 2 -1 armor or shield tokens. Hold on. Not shield tokens. Gotta find that other shield token. Give me 1 second here. It is one of them I have not opened yet. -1 to attack. I need to get a knife. Set that over there. So 2 -1s to attack. Those can theoretically both be drawn the same turn. So that sucks for Gregory. And then they spend the last one to heal 3. They're up to 6, and that ends their turn. Both characters, Alec and Gregory, but now Alec has an advantage as he draws. He has 3 of these cubes. So theoretically, with a lucky draw, forget to flip that one, you draw 3. 1, 2. Well, we're gonna get at least 3 out of there. 3. We'll just set aside that skull. I'm going to use Reinforce again to attack for 3, gain that extra defense, so it deals 1 damage. And then I have these 2 tokens to use. Well, that one should be flipped. Combine. Trigger Empower effect on 1 card. Or, if 2 potions are active, flip 1 non-active potion. I am not sure what I want to do here. Twilight Waters, super useful. I'd love to be able to boost defense. So I'm actually going to do Twilight Waters to see what that one is. Target self. Safeguard. Gain 2 blue cubes. Until the start of next turn. If health is below 7, heal 2. Heal 3. Then I have 1 chip left. I'm not going to attack. I'm going to use Crimson Tonic. I'm going to use the Empower effect of 1 to put... Please don't tell me I haven't opened that yet. Probably haven't. Purple Heart. So the thing with the purple hearts is they don't go away. I'm sure there are things to remove them, but as we saw with the poison, it specifically told us to clear out said poison. Kind of mainly because it's part of the tutorial. But now we're starting to build a bag in such a way that we want it. So it's left with 1 there. I have yet to draw anything all that bad from here. Heart doesn't do any good. It is purple. I've yet to draw, actually, anything. I have a shield. That is flipped over, by the way. Sword. And my first red skull. So I'm attacking for -1. Which means I'm not keen to attack right now. If I can hit for 3. I'll hit for 3, which becomes, or hit for 4, which becomes 3, and then spend both cubes to add a +1 to hit. And with my sword, I'll attack. I'm attacking for 2. Their defense is 2. So that is nothing. But the red goes away. So we're getting closer. Now, the enemy goes. The lowest defense, which would be Alec. So, Alec currently has 1 armor, getting attacked for 4. So it will definitely deal damage. 1, 2, 3. Then we reset everything and begin again. We've done Twilight Waters. We shouldn't have actually flipped this one. We used the Empower ability, not that. So I can gain another green. There's 1, possibly. Heart. Don't know how much I have left in here. And there's a skull. So heart should drive that up by 1. And then I just have a sword. I can use attack for 2, or I can put it over here, spending 1 to gain an additional green. Down to 1 chip for Alec. I'm going to take the damage to reload Gregory's bag. Because I want a shot with Gregory here to do a whole bunch of damage. 1 sword. Oh, that one should have flipped, by the way. 2 swords. 2 swords for Gregory. Enemy gains -1 defense for the turn. Then do want to look up one thing here quick. Gregory's chain. My guess is probably not on here. Reference. Guard keywords 12. So each subsequent one does gain its chain ability. Which means I would probably go this order to gain an extra sword in there, then reduce, and I attack at 3 against 1, so that's 2 down, so close. Green shield, by the way. Alec, I know how much you wanted to keep that. No. Highest attack and dirty fighting. So I'm gonna hit for 2. Well, hit for 3 and add 2 -1 attacks. So I take 1 damage. Then it targets self. And yes, it will heal 1, 2, 3. I have a number of these that heal, which I will say is kind of annoying. Both the abilities cool down. Alec goes to draw, draws 1, doesn't have anything else left. Keep in mind, you draw until you draw number equal to your black cubes. So Alec has a ton. We have just cycled through almost everything. For Alec, we heal 1. That one is spent. So we will heal again into Alec's bag. That costs 1 cube. I don't have enough shield to pull that one off. I did. That one should be flipped. You know what? We'll actually even use that one just to flip through this one. Not sure kind of the advantage of that. Possibly it's supposed to be flipped upright so I can see what's going to be coming next. And I'll just have to look deeper into the rules. Then I'm definitely going to come over here. Attack for +2, so 4 against 2, 1, 2. And then I still have 1 more of these left. We'll attack for 3. And then I can attack for 2. That does nothing. I actually don't have a great use for this. So I guess attack for 2. It does nothing. Because that one goes away. I feel like green cubes should go away after you use them. But I didn't play that with the enemy. So I'm not going to change that now. Actually, the reference had cubes. Yeah, action cubes, and then we'll double check over here in the combat section. End of round. Clean up, remove all chips. doesn't say anything about those cubes. So Alec and Gregory. -1 to attack. Great. That one is flipped, by the way. Shield. Sword. Stop drawing. So I'm at -1 to attack. With a shield and a sword. My sword, I don't have so close to being able to do what I want to do. So I'm going to spend 2 to add 2 positive face to my bag. We're loading up on those. And then I'm going to use this attack as a basic attack to deal 1 damage. That one goes away, as does my -1 to attack. And we come along to the bad guy's turn. Bad guy, lowest armor, followed by aggro, whoever attacked last. That's why I have Gregory go last, is some of these, say there were a tie on something, it would go for aggro then, and that would then be Gregory. There is not, so it's going to spend 1, do a sword thrust, we've seen this before, plus 2 damage, so at 4 against 1. 1, 2, 3. Gregory, or Alec, is fairly soft, and now both of them have used their abilities. We're going with Gregory first here. We need 1 damage. There's a sword. We will get our 1 damage. Both of those at the end of the round. Go back up. Heart. Just doing that as I draw it. +1 to attack. Still only drawn 1 black. +2 to attack. -1 to attack. So we're at +1. This is going great, actually. +2. And a shield. I still only have 1 black chip on 2 shields. Alright, so I can spend 2 shields to gain +2 defense. Not that that will matter because I'm at +2 to attack, so I attack for 5 and I take him out. Now, this does require that I do a little bit of cleanup here. I'm splitting out the chips into the different areas so we can properly do our cleanup after combat. So we won, then if the battle is victorious, we restore health back up to 20. Okay, the battle will end in either victory or defeat. The guards are victorious when all the enemies on the battlefield have an HP of 0. Collect rewards for each enemy. So 4 Lux, 5 Sil. We're not that far away from being able to do another guard level up. 5 Sil. We're at 16 Sil. And 6 Lux. Gain enemy drop cards to be stored, blah blah blah. If the guard already has an enemy drop card in their satchel slot, flip the card to the new quantity held. So like the wolf pelt has a 1, we can flip it up to a 2. Of course, we're not fighting a wolf there. If it is victorious, but one of the guards has fallen, no rewards are lost, and the bags remain as is. Revive the fallen guard, set their HP at 1. If both guards reach 0 before that of their enemies, they're defeated. Blah blah blah. Restore. That's when we restore stuff. Return all chips on the enemy dashboard to the supply. Return all enemy AR cards back to the index. Return red and green chips on both guard dashboards and ability boards back to the supply. Return all black and purple chips to both. So I had that set up. With one last skull in there for Gregory. So everything that I use this turn goes away. Makes sense. Anything else stays in the bag. So negatives can hang around for a long time. Just as those purples are hanging around as a positive for Gregory and Alec, which means I do have to consider using that ability sparingly. And then we flip all green cubes get returned, and all abilities go back to their passive sides, and we ready our attacks, or our stone speaker. And there we have it. That was slightly longer than I thought it might take there for that combat, but we have wrapped it up and still actually have a little bit of the beer left, mainly because I was reading a lot, so I didn't have a chance to drink beer instead of reading. I would have listened. I'm excited, well, one, to get the full setup in effect. I am really trying to figure out if there's a way I can make this smaller. And I do think that there is. So the player boards, I have those black plastic cases on them. If I remove those, I get about an inch and a half to 2 inches of space. That's not enough space, but it will get me close. And really, there's not that much room to shave down on stuff. I do think some things like these dashes that have the top part to them, they could have done without that top part. It would look just fine. Saved on space that way. I already have them overlapping the enemy stuff. Beyond that, I don't know. There are certain things maybe could be shrunk slightly. Again, it's not going to save that much space, though. Could maybe gain a couple more inches. Which means this is a massive game. There are certain things about the game maybe you could use smaller cards for. That would have made text smaller. So, maybe not. But hopefully you had fun with this. I had fun with it this time, even doing a lot of reading. So, yeah, if you want to check out more of this gameplay, I do have 2 previous plays that you can check out, as well as then every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time, approximately. Today was a little bit late because I was rushing to do a little last-minute setup. that's going to be when I stream this game. Otherwise, I also stream on Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and that's going to be random board game, whatever it might be. I'm leaning towards learning Welcome to the Moon. I didn't stream this week though because of the fact that it was the 4th of July, which means that I was out of town actually. So look forward to next Monday's stream. We'll see what game I will be tackling over there. Generally though, it's not going to be a big campaign game like I do here. If you want to check out other things that I do, check out nerdologist.com. The link is in the description below. And I read about a whole bunch of nerdy things there. As well as I have a podcast, 10 Minute Marvel, where we're currently watching through and talking about Secret Invasion as that comes out. So, if you like Marvel, check that out. But with that, bottoms up.